time for Key Collectors, Key of the Week. I'm going to take a look at the list, and we're going to come up with, I think, the top 5 books, spec value and story value, and maybe even cover by, to see which the best ones to pick up this week. Number 5 on our list is Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, issue number 4. Now, this has 4 first appearances in it. It has first appearance of Nihil characters and first appearance of Jedi. If you're not familiar with the High Republic storyline, Nihil are like the villains of this time period. Now, the High Republic jumps all over the place. Some characters, there's like, I think, at least over 40 different new characters, because it's a new era of Star Wars, so almost everybody's new. They're not really sought after because they haven't really done anything. The only thing that Disney has done to produce film-wise for High Republic is that Young Jedi Kids show. Other than that, they pretty much haven't done anything. It's only been books and comics. So nothing has really taken off. However, though, I would say the High Republic Adventures are worth specking on because it's not as sought after. Not a lot of people are going to be picking up the High Republic Adventures. More people are going to pick up the main Marvel series. So considering that this is the Dark Horse series and it's for kids, kids' books, as we've seen, usually, if there's a first appearance, not a lot of people pick them up, and they come a little bit higher later on. So for the $3.99 price point, I think it's worth the spec on this one. And even if you're not really the biggest Star Wars fan, it would maybe be worth picking this one up because you never know what they'll do with the High Republic in the future. Number 4 on our list is Symbiote Spider-Man 2099, number 1. Now, this is a story where Miguel O'Hara gets the symbiote on him. I think it's the first time. I didn't read all of the symbiote, all the 2099 Spider-Man stories, but I believe it's the first time he bonds with the symbiote. So it could be the first appearance of the first 2099 Miguel O'Hara symbiote. So that's pretty cool. Symbiote stories in general are pretty cool to read. So it could be worth the spec value because of the fact that it's the first time they're bonding. Plus, it might be good for the story. And it's also written by Peter David. So that'd be pretty interesting. So he's usually pretty good. I did also hear that this issue has a pretty good cliffhanger that might lead something to being pretty big in issue number 2, something to do with the symbiote. So I think this book is definitely worth checking out. And like I said, Peter David's a pretty good writer, and a lot of his stuff usually is pretty good. The symbiote involved in 2099 Spider-Man is pretty good. And if I remember correctly, I think I read somewhere that this continues after the ongoing 2099 Spider-Man series. So it continues on after that. But anyway, this might be worth to check out and worth respect value. Number 3 on our list is Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 1. Now, this is the first appearance of the Hood taking over the Ghost Rider mantle. Because in the last series, Johnny Blaze is no longer Ghost Rider, and somebody new was taking on it. And I did read it, and basically the whole issue is showing the spirit of Ghost Rider going to character. Eventually it settles on the Hood. So this is kind of the cameo of the Hood as Ghost Rider. He will appear, he's on the cover in issue number 2, and he will appear later on. So it is intriguing. Always when they change a character, it's a little intriguing there. So it's, I would pick this one up for the story. Spec purposes, as we've seen, first appearances, characters with superhero stuff, with taking on mantles, doesn't really go that well. Sometimes they hit more than others, but if spec value, I don't think this one is worth it. But story value, I think it's good. Ben Percy did the last Ghost Rider run, and I enjoy almost every issue here, so I'm really intrigued to see where he brings it with the Hood. So this one's definitely a cool one to check out, and also was Key Collector's Pick of the Week. So they want you to check this one out as well, and I agree. I think out of the list, it's one of the better ones to pick up this week. Number 2 on our list is Black Widow and Hawkeye, number 1, the Stanley Archerm 1/100 variant. Stanley Archerm has a huge fan following. His covers are usually one of the best, and his 1/100s, for the most part, usually sell well over $100. It depends. Some sell better than others, but if you have the money to spare, I would go after this one. His covers always look gorgeous. The Virgin covers 1/100. I wish I was able to get them, but they usually tend to be more expensive. But usually, for the most part, they end up around like $100 or so. So yeah, even if you're not a fan of Archerm, and if you were able to pick this up, or you see it for even lower than $50, I would say definitely grab it, because it's 1/100. So the cool one to pick up. Not going to be for everybody, but if you're a fan of his artwork, I would say pick it up. It's a great cover in my opinion. And my number 1 book to pick up this week is Thundercats number 2, that has the first appearance of a Thundercat, Cecilia or something like that. I don't know how you say the name, but a brand new Thundercat, which I don't think appeared in the show or any of the comics. It's brand new. Issue number 1 sold pretty good. A lot of people picked it up. I heard some mixed things about it, but it sold really well, and I think issue 2 will sell just as well. Plus, it has a new appearance there, so it's definitely worth checking out. And this new character may appear in the Thundercat series going forward. They may appear in a movie, cartoon show. Who knows? So I think this one gets good to pick up for the story, gets good to pick up for the spec potential. So I'd say out of all the books this week, Thundercats number 2 is definitely the best one to pick up, because you can't go wrong with the first appearance of Thundercat, and the series is pretty popular. That concludes our look through the keys of the week this week. Those are my top 5 books. I think those were the best books. It's a little light week in terms of keys, so maybe next week we'll get a little bit more, but those are definitely the books. I think Thundercats is probably the best book to pick up this week. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next week with the Key Collector Comics Pick of the Week. Bye-bye.